Hello there and good morning. It's Saturday morning. It's what is the date today? February. I actually have to look. 18th. It's the 18th today. Welcome to a bonus edition of Living Charmed Live. It's our ninth time going live. I say our because I usually have a co-host with me here. But today I'm running solo, giving her another break. It's always so great to have the wonderful Val here. She's funny, she's great. You guys are going to get to know her over time. She's got lots of great stories and stuff, and she's a great addition to this program for sure. And I miss her when she's not here, of course. So today's is a bonus. It's actually I've done 3 already this week, and I'm doing a 4th because I'm coming into a very busy time, and I may only be able to do 2 next week. Oh my gosh, why does my nose get itchy every time? Anyways, so I'm going to do one today. It's a bonus, but yet it's such a big subject. This is a subject that I'm trying to squeeze into about half an hour. I may run over, but it's a 4-day topic. It's just endless, right? It's just an endless amount. And I really feel for the group of people that I'm talking about today. And really, that can be any one of us at any given time too. For the most part, right? Some of the things that I'm talking about. And so the topic today is called suffering with toxic negativity within, right? It's a horrible way to have to live. There's people that struggle with this on a regular basis. They want to get better, and they fight against themselves all the time, and it's very, very difficult. So what theme would that fall under? I've got comfortably confident and relationship rich, I believe, in my about for this. But it falls under really a lot of the pillars too, right? They kind of all, because it affects every area of your life and your relationships when you suffer with this particular affliction. It is an affliction. Not labeling it, not making excuses for anybody, because that's the thing. One of the first steps is to stop making excuses, right? You have to kind of take control. So I try to stay away from using words like cliche words like, and overused words like toxic and, like purpose and all that stuff, right? Although I do believe I have that in here too. But I do try to stay away from those words just because they are overused. But I did decide to go with it today because it does get people's attention these days. And the biggest reason is because it is true. It's toxic. This way of being will infect you, and it makes you sick. It's a commonality, and everybody that I've worked with has that commonality to it. So the symptoms that I'm going to go over today, and there is a lot. I think I've got about 20, and there's more than that. I have to stop at 20. But what I'm going to go through is a compilation of quite a few clients that I've worked with, people that I haven't worked with, because some people I can't work with until they're ready. And so there's a reason for that, right? It takes 2 when you're wanting to work on yourself, and somebody has to be ready. They have to want it really bad to make the change. So because I'm a coach and not a therapist, I move people forward in a forward motion, right? That's why I can't work with them. So that's why I always talk to people first. And there's other reasons where I might not be able to work with somebody. Most of the time, 9 times out of 10, everybody I talk to, it's great, and I can work with and I can click with. If I can't, it's because I can't bring them value, and that would be the reason why, right? And if they're not ready, that's going to be the reason why. Why would I want to take money from somebody, right? Because if they're going to invest in themselves, you want to make sure that there's going to be value brought forth. So why would I do that, right? Integrity wise, I can't do that, right? So and allowing a constant barrage of negative and self-destructive emotions coming at you all the time, I said allowing, on a regular basis will cause illness over time. If you think that you may struggle in this area as you're listening to this show, I would really hope that you will listen objectively and that you'll give yourself the gift of being very honest with yourself today as you listen to this. Nobody's judging you, nobody's around you. Just get honest with yourself. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. And I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room, because the underlying word to all of this is depression. I hate that word. I just hate that word with a passion, and there's many reasons why I do. It's an infliction, right? It's hard to deal with. It affects other people. I have been affected by it, by others in my life. I have gone through it. I'm genetically genetically prone to it. Sorry, and also circumstantially, I found myself stuck there, and I can't stand it because my default place is happy, and also that is because I have trained myself to go there. I have done the work to go there. I am living proof that you can go there. It is possible. It's not, I mean, there's other things involved with that. I'm not minimizing anybody. Once again, please, whenever I'm talking like this, I am not minimizing how you're feeling, what you think, and all that stuff. Please just know that. The other thing is, I am not a therapist. I'm a coach. So there's many differences. And one day I keep promising I'm going to come on and tell the many differences and talk about that, right? So being a coach, I can't diagnose and I cannot prescribe any kind of medication or anything like that. And I deal with the past for information purposes and stuff, but we don't stay stuck there. It is forward moving. So that means that the reason I can't work with some people if they're not ready is because if they're not ready, it's just pointless. It's a waste of time and money, and for both our parts, really. I'd be banging my head against the wall, and I truly do want to help anybody that comes to me, right? So today, we're going to call it negative Nellie syndrome. That's what we're going to call it, just to make it lighter, just to make light of it, right? It's definitely something that you don't want to make light of, because it's a very serious and hard-hitting affliction when people suffer with this. It definitely is. I understand, and I know many people that suffer with this, and they struggle hard, right? So negative Nellie syndrome is a byproduct and a contributing factor to staying in a depressive state. It just really is. So my other disclaimer is that there's going to be people that are watching this that know me, probably friends, family, past clients, current clients. Please try not to think that I am talking about you, because it is a symptom that I will be going over. It is one of the symptoms of of having this kind of way of thinking, right? It's like, she's talking about me on this show. I'm being singled out. No, that's not true at all. Again, it's a compilation of everybody, and it's amazing and uncanny how exactly similar everybody is that struggles with this particular affliction. So I'm going to go over the symptoms today. There's a lot of them. So, and then I'm going to go into the why it would be important to do the work to change all the collateral damage that happens when you're this way, right? And what life maybe could be like if you did take the steps to finally change. So there is about 20 again, maybe 3 songs in there. I couldn't help myself. It's just there. Just crazy the way this went. But okay, so let's get started. I'm going to start with the symptoms. Oversensitive. These people are usually very oversensitive. They take things very personally into heart. So any little word that you say can be taken out of context, and you'll know when you're talking to a person like this, because they are sensitive, and the look on their face will tell you everything, or they will even verbalize to you what the heck, but blah blah blah, right? And you didn't even mean it about them, right? Which brings me to the second one is they always think it's about them. A lot of times they think it's about them. Whenever somebody's saying negative, or even talking about a negative story, they make it about them. Well, they're talking about me. Me. The song, You're So Vain. And you know what? they're not vain. Most of the times they're not, but you tend to make it about you because you're just so super subconscious, right, about that, right? You're just always looking for people to validate the way you feel about yourself, really. And so you project it onto somebody else, right? So the other one, misunderstood. They feel very misunderstood. Nobody gets it. Nobody gets me. All that stuff, as you know, I'm just, so misunderstood. Nobody understands me. You don't get it. You don't get what I'm going through. You have no idea, that stuff, right? If you're the common denominator in a lot of things. So what does that mean? That means that you feel like a lot of people you're always kind of in conflict with them, and they're hurting your feelings a lot. Your feelings are getting hurt a lot, right? Just misunderstand it, never getting what you want from others, right? What you feel like you need from others. It's kind of like, why can't they meet my needs a lot of times, right? And you don't mean to be that way. It's just a way of thinking, even if on a subconscious level. It's not my fault. It's other people. It's circumstantial, right? I'd be happier if, or I could do this if, right? So the other one, it is my fault. It's all my fault. Blah blah blah. It's the blame game. It's the thing about it is, which is going to lead into the next one, is it's easier to blame something or someone else, even yourself, weird enough, than it is to do the work and go about changing the way that is, right? Then going about changing, totally transformation, changing who you are completely, doing the work. It is hard work. It's going to take some work. If you've been like this for years, it is obviously going to take some work. It takes work every day for a long time, right? But not that long. It can go fast once you click in and you really decide to do it. So here's the other song, I Want a New Drug. Okay. Now, there are some times where, yes, you need to have drugs. There needs to be drug intervention when it's clinical and stuff like that, right? But a lot of times when it is, they keep wanting a different one or another one, or, a better one. They want the drug to do the work for them rather than do the work themselves. And a lot of times what's going on there is they've got the drug, but they're not doing the work too. And, that's a whole big conversation that can go a lot of places. So this is just touching on the symptom right there, right? It's just always wanting an easier way, right? Because they know that it's hard work to change, or that it's hard to change, or I know that it's hard work to change when I'm in that state, right? I do relate to this as well. Resistance to making positive change. Here's my third thought. It's Trooper song. If you don't like what you've got, rearrange it, right? You can make changes in your life, and only you can make those changes. You have to decide to do that. You've got to choose it, right? If you don't like what you've got, rearrange it. And that goes with the way you're thinking about yourself too. You can do this. And yes, it's going to come back at you, but you can do this. Wanting and needing validation from others. So this is a big one, because part of the problem is, and it's kind of like the chicken and the egg, because when you're looking for validation from others, you very rarely get it, because for one thing, they don't even know you're looking for it. You'll never get the validation that you need because they don't know what you need. You know what you need. So self-validation and value is always going to come from self. And that is why I'm so always on working on self, right? Self first. It's so important. It's the only way to do it. Common sayings that they will say is, I can't do it. I can't do this. Life, this relationship, blah, blah, blah. I can't do this, right? I can't do it. I can't do what I want, what I need to do to get what I want, right? That's the it. I can't help it. That's another one. It's definitely another one. And, it's a story that they tell themselves, but if somebody challenges them on that, the common reaction is getting mad, which is another symptom, right? get mad because, you know, nobody has to tell them. They don't have to be told. They already know, right? These people, you guys, me, when I'm in that state, we already know this, right? But anger is another symptom, right? It's just another way of telling us that we need to do some work, right? I know, but that's another one, right? I know that, but I know that. So I know that is knowledge. And if you know that but, and you put a but after, you're canceling out your no because you're not doing, then then it's kind of saying, I know that, but I refuse to do the work, right? Which leads me to, I'll try. I've tried that, right? It's just a very common way of staying stuck in that vortex of, because it's comfortable there, believe it or not. It's comfortable because you know it, right? That's part of the thing. Another symptom, they are sick, chronically sick, and or they struggle with addictions, right? That's another one, very, very common. Defensive, like I just said before, right? Get angry if called on something. You don't understand me. I've tried that. I can't. You don't know. Blah blah blah. Okay. Self-pity. They don't mean to be, but they will find themselves feeling bad about themselves. Right? Everybody's against them. Nothing works out for me. Why me? Why always me? Stuff like that. Right? That's just another one of the symptoms. Misery loves company. So they're very overly sympathetic to other NSSs, negative Nellies, right? People in this, that kind of stay in this sort of vortex, right? It's tough. It's not a good place to be. And I believe you when you say you don't want to be there. And I believe myself when I say that. I'm saying that because I don't want to sound too harsh today because of the sensitive factor, right? Like this is just basic symptoms of how it is, right? Of how you know that you may be struggling in this area, right? So yeah, they're overly sympathetic to other people that struggle in this area. For one thing, they can relate to it. And another thing is in some ways, it's like, yeah, I get you, you get me, let's talk, right? It really can be misery loves company. If you want to commiserate with each other and do that and stay there, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. It's a choice that you've made, right? But you probably will not go forward, right? You're obviously making also a choice not to go forward. You're making a valid choice there. Okay, another thing, another symptom they have, commonality in every one of the people that I know that struggle in this area, they have big hearts. They have big hearts, full of love, able to love, and they can love hard. And they do. They love hardcore. I think it's part of the reason why that it's one of the big things, right? It's like, but instead of using it and being able to push some of these negative feelings away and ignoring them, instead they let it in and they allow it to infect them in another way. And it's the opposite of what they should be doing with it, right? Huger than life personalities. A lot of you have huger than life personalities, and you have a ton of treasure within you. Potential to be amazing in many different areas of your life, but you're unable to see it yourself, right? You're just really, you just won't see it. You just don't want to see it. You can't see it. You're just unable to until you really want to make the change. And then you just start changing your focus and you can find it, right? Unforgiveness. Many people are unforgiving of themselves, for one thing, right? Self-sabotage, right? So, and unforgiveness. So they'll take a hurt that somebody's put upon them and play it over and over again. They don't forget. There's a running tab. They can go back to that hurt at any time. And the thing that's very ironic about this is, even though they're mad at the other person, and they'll tell other people about it too, right? Because they want the validation of that person really was in the wrong, right? They want that. But the problem is they're only hurting themselves, and it's hurting themselves a lot, and they're allowing the offender to hurt them over and over and over again. It's a very self-destructive symptom of the negative Nellie syndrome, which is basically, it is depression. I just hate the word. So let's see, where are we here? Yeah, pushing people away that want to help, that kind of goes with the you don't get me, you don't understand. The other thing that they have is they're very compassionate, empathetic, and caring people. And when they don't get it back to them, when it's not reciprocated back to them, it goes a lot into expectations that I talked about the other day, which is going to be a big subject one day and under Relationship Rich. But anyways, when they don't get it back, they get extremely hurt. They get hurt, and then they turn it into different emotions like bitterness, resentment, all kinds of negative things that just keep rolling around in there, right? It just keeps, there's just negative areas that they can keep feeding themselves with, right? Just always. And if they can, often they'll blame somebody else, right? It's like, you know, that's another one of their sayings. Well, if so-and-so wasn't blah, 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 or if he, she didn't blah, 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 right? Then I could be whatever, right? Well, you know what? Those people are going to be those people. And the only person you can control is you. And what I get back a lot when I do say that to people is, oh, I know that. But if you know that, then that's your clue to go, okay, I know that. That's knowledge. There's power in knowledge. I need to move forward with that, right? I need to change something. It's just a clue to change something, right? Giving up too soon, right? They'll try for a while, and then they'll give up because somebody will inevitably hurt their feelings, or they'll hit a wall, or a circumstance will happen that puts them back. And then rather than using their light for good in this world, they take what's hurt, how they're hurt, and turn it in on themselves, right? On a regular basis. So, you know, there's so many more symptoms than that. That actually was quite a few. But that list is way more extensive. It's way more extensive than that. It goes deep, it runs deep. And I feel so badly a lot of times for those people, but I can't afford to, right? So a lot of times, especially when I've been in groups and stuff with people, it may sound like I'm not empathetic or compassionate. Believe me, I am. I'm a very empathetic and compassionate person to a fault. But I've learned to know that if I sympathize with them, I'm not moving them forward. I'm not helping them. So for me, from a coaching standpoint and aspect, I can't go there, right? I can't go, oh my God, that must feel so bad and blah, blah, blah. I can imagine how bad it feels. And I know how bad it feels from a firsthand point of view, but I cannot go there. So sometimes it might, you know, feel like I'm picking on somebody, and I'm just not. I'm trying to help them move forward. And, you know, as a friend and a family member, a lot of times I do have to kind of go, oh, that's too bad, blah, blah, blah. I have to stop myself, right? Because they don't want to hear it. And you have to know when people want to hear that. So if you're dealing with somebody that has this kind of persona, then know when to walk away. You know, just kind of know when to walk away. If they're getting really upset and agitated, just know when to walk away, because there's only so much that you can do. Only they can help themselves in many cases. So that's kind of the symptoms. So why do the work? Why do the work to choose to change that part of yourself, right? Who's it hurting? What's it hurting? I'm just hurting myself, right? Well, that's true. You are hurting yourself. So I'm only going to touch on this because it's different for everybody, right? So the first one is for yourself. It's going to start again and end with yourself, right? For yourself. That would be the obvious reason, because it will feel better when you can start coming up against these feelings and start doing the work that you need to do to make these changes and really dig in and choose it. I can't say that enough. Everything else is going to change. Everything's going to change. You're going to feel different. Your life and every area of your life is going to change for the better. Plain and simple, right? You know what? Everybody has gifts within them. Everybody does. these people, I hate saying these people because there's people that I've worked with, right? I can't, what other word am I going to use, right? So anyways, anyone that suffers with these afflictions, they really think they have no gifts. They believe they have no gifts, and they think that they a lot of times think that there's no use for them. They have it, and let me tell you, every one of them that I've met, same symptom and commonality, you all have gifts. You all have them. You do. And they can be uncovered, and we can find them. Get with somebody that will help you. Get with a professional that will help you when you are ready to do the work, but you do have gifts. And even if you're 100 years old, it doesn't matter. If you're still here, you have gifts inside of you, and you have a purpose. There's that word. There's the other cliche word that's overused, right? But you do, right? If you're, spiritually inclined, and you know that you're going to heaven, and you will. It's your heart that God is concerned about, right? You want to hear, "Well done, good and faithful servant," right? Like, well done, right? So use your gifts. You're meant to use your gifts here. Now I'm going to end this with your own list, because I could go into a whole bunch, right? Some obvious ones, but here's the thing. It's your list that matters. It's your whys that matter, because it's your whys that are going to make you want this enough to do the work to choose it, right? So you really have to do the work. You have to get with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to get accountable, and then you have to start doing the work, right? So how? Right? And I'm just going to, again, touch on some hows today, because again, we're kind of running out of time already. But again, you know what? I'm repeating this, and there's a reason. It's because this how, you can stop listening now until you're ready to choose it, right? Because you really need to be ready to choose it. You can listen now, but you can come back to this video if you want to, for when you are really, really ready and you've made the choice to make your life better. There's all kinds of reasons to choose better. Work on that list of why it would be better, why you should choose better, and then start going, okay, you know what, I'm going to get to work on this, right? So number one, very important, if it is clinical, because there is clinical depressions and stuff like that, that's out of my realm. So everything I've said here, right, I can help you in conjunction with a therapist when you are ready to move forward and go with that. But if it is, then obviously you need to follow your doctor's orders and what they want you to do, and prescriptions that they put you on, right? Obviously, that's okay. I'm just going to leave that there. That's a whole different thing, right? So just to make sure. So again, choose it. Choose it, guys. No turning back, choosing it, right? I want it so bad that I'm starving and there's a big juicy steak in front of me, and I'm going to get that steak. I want it. I need it. I want it. Need to want it, right? Okay, so now some other little things that you can do. And I mean, this is great if you're working in conjunction with a coach, a good coach, right? Somebody that's going to help you move forward, somebody that you like, somebody that you can relate to. Find a good one. Morning routines, right? Start your day off in a good with a good mindset, right? Don't listen to the news. Don't let any other things, any outside things negatively affect you. Just stay with yourself for at least 15-20 minutes. It's so important. I'm sure you've heard other people say it, and it is important, and it's effective. If you're spiritually inclined, find something spiritual. There's so many things out there on YouTube and stuff. Just click spiritual, blah, blah, blah. Let your creator talk to you. Let him help you, right? That's a big plus if you have that spiritual inclination, right? Very big. If you're not, then TED Talks. There's all kinds of others, right? Others that are spiritually connected, but don't even talk about that part, right? They just use it in another way. Whatever you need to do, but feed yourself with a positive message. You need to renew your spirit and your mind every morning, first thing in the morning, and then last thing at night, and during the day if you can, right? Always be feeding your mind with positive, right? Distracting with positive, right? Get active. Again, breathless, right? Endorphins. That is so big if you can do that. Even out, go for a walk outside, fast walk outside. Just get winded, get fresh air. You know what? Just do something. Distraction. Once again, right? Distract, right? Hobbies. Do something new. Find something new to do. You're using a different part of your brain. It's so when you're creative and you're doing something creative and with, whatever you choose to do, find something you like and love. Do that, right? And then when you're using that part of your brain, the other part, it's hard for the negative to come in, right? They counter each other. So you really, if you have to do two things at once, if you've got ADHD like me, then listen to something uplifting or watch a good inspirational movie while you're, I don't know if you knit. I could never knit. Good for you that can. But I do things like paint sculptures and all kinds of different things, right? But it really does use a different part of your brain, and it really is helpful. Socializing. You may have to push yourself here because you're going to make a commitment, and when you make those commitments, you feel like you want to do it, right? The day is going to come, and inevitably you're going to talk yourself out of it. This is a very big symptom, another symptom of having this affliction, right? Push through, go. Anyways, you can always leave early if it's not happening for you. Sometimes you'll surprise yourself and it will be good. If it's not, then leave, right? You can leave, you can always leave, but do follow through with your commitments, honor them. It also raises your self-confidence when you do that. Time alone. It's okay to spend time alone. It's good to value your own company. It's really good. And when you're doing that, you could be like doing one of your hobbies and stuff like that, or just spend time alone, get to know who you are. That's actually the last one here, I think. But anyways, yeah, spend time alone. There's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. It's not, but enjoy your time alone. If and when you're ready, and only when, get into groups, do group activities, group coaching, do some group coaching. I'm going to be doing some group coaching. I'll announce that later, and that is to come. I'll be doing my own, but there's others out there that you can do, obviously, right? Or just be a part of a group, but a positive group, not other negative Nellies. Try to stay away from the misery loves company thing if you can, right? You want to be around other positive people that feed the positive part of yourself, right? Retraining your brain, right? So that's the negative self-talk, right? I'm so blah, blah, blah. I'm so fat. I'm so ugly. I'm so stupid. I'm so, I can't do anything right. I blah, blah, all that stuff, all that. Never allow any of it anymore. You've got to stop even if you feel like you believe it, it doesn't matter. Change it. Have 3 things to change your one negative. It's gonna take work. It's gonna be every day. You're gonna have to work at it, like not just try it for a day or two and go, oh, it didn't work, because that's very common, right? Because it's really easy. It's an easy place to stay. It is. It's this is one thing where people get really mad at me when they are suffering from this affliction, and it's like, I don't choose to be here. What do you mean? And they're very offended, right? But the thing is there's some sort of payoff when you're stuck in this negative vortex of having these toxic negative emotions come at you all the time. There's some sort of payoff there. It sounds weird, but there is, whether it's just comfort in knowing it and you understand it and you're used to it, it's comfortable. There's, you know what? There could be all kinds of reasons that I'm not even going to get into because it's so different for each person, right? But sometimes there's a reason. So one of the things that you need to do before you decide to choose it is ask yourself why you're staying there. Why aren't you doing the work? When especially if you're like, I know I need to change this, then why are you still there, right? So start asking yourself some really good questions, some really hard, good questions. Be kind to yourself as you're doing it. Do it in a loving way. Ask yourself in a loving way. So get to know who you are. You know what? Every person that I've worked with that has this, or know that has this, has a very beautiful person inside there and a bunch of hidden treasures. There's some awesome gifts in there. Dig her up. Find out who that is. Get to know her. You will like her. I like her or him. Really, there's some awesome people in there. I can't stress that enough. I think that's why this topic is so real, and I'm so passionate about it, because I know so many very, very valuable people that have so much value in them that are buried in a shroud of negativity and just don't know how to get out, or don't want to, or just won't do the work. And you have to do the work. You have to be willing to do the work. And it is hard work. I'm going to stop there today, because just as I thought, am running out of time. I'm going a little bit over. So again, this is going to be a subject that's going to be touched on here and there over in the months to come. I promise that I'm going to be doing this show for at least 3 months. So we're going to see how it goes. And the reason I'm doing these shows is for reasons like this. People that struggle with this particular affliction feel very alone, and they think that they are the only ones that have this a lot of times, that nobody else feels the way they do. So the reason is because people can and do relate to this. So if any of these symptoms hit home today, even if they in a resistant sort of way, know that you're not alone, because many people have this. And hence in me saying, I'm not talking about one particular person here that I know. I'm talking about a compilation of a lot of people, unfortunately, that struggle with this, that I care about a lot. And that is clients too, because I do care about my clients, past, present, all of them, right? So know that you are not alone in this. This is a very, very common thing to struggle with. And it is also something that you can, I'm hearing eye rolls, because I get it. You don't understand me. You can change it. You can take steps to change it. You can, at the very least, make your life better. You really, really can. It's quite possible. Again, work has to be done on it. It has to, just like if you're going to lose weight, obviously there's certain things that steps you got to take to do that. You have to have a plan, right? So you do need to do the work. So that's going to be it for today. My bonus little video here today, live video cast. So if you know somebody that is struggling in this area that you think could maybe benefit from hearing this video, please do share it with them carefully, because you don't want to hurt their feelings, right? Because they do get easily hurt. So I mean, the term walking on eggshells is used a lot when we're talking about friends and family members that may struggle with these sorts of afflictions, right? Because you've been bit a couple times and you don't know why, so you really choose your words carefully, right? So same with your actions, right? It's like it's one of those things. But I know that if you're like me and everyone else, you love these people, and you'd like to see them do better for themselves. So by all means, share this video. The other thing is if you have any questions or anything that you'd like me to address on these shows, or you want to be a guest, and especially I'm really looking for guests for Relationship Fridays with your furry ones. Humans are welcome too. I guess they have to be, right? Which I love, because I love the humans, obviously. livingcharmed.live@gmail.com. That information is also on my website, and so are some of the past shows and some of the future shows that are coming, which is www.livingcharmed.ca. Other than that, be happy, choose happy, stay happy. Okay, have a good day, everybody.